Hey, what is up? We are live. We are going to be joined here in a few minutes by Steve Shoup from Fanspeak. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be going over rookies, the combine, our old ranks, our new ranks, what we thought needs to happen, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for popping in, but he'll be here in just a minute. We're going to fill some time by going over current news, but before all of that, we're going to hit the intro.
Hey, we're grinding through the torment. High volume, no management. Taming souls indecent. Grinding drafts through the abyss, no rest in our veins. Feel striking like lightning, flooding endless pains from late season voids. He's dropping all the flames. Best ball, legions unite, shattering the chains. Old school RB stacking fury, derailing trendy trains. Who must command in the storm etched in our brains? Who? Hey, thunder in the names, claiming all the kills. Flames, names, games. Legion, wrath of fuse, stone age torment remains. Best ball eternal in Wumane's infernal domain. Pterodactyl pigs screaming, Cayman chaos reigns. Fossil fury fuels the fire, drafting through the veins.
All right, welcome, Anthony. Nice and blunt, Omega King. How are we doing? If you were, I'm sure most of you were listening to Steve over there for Fanspeak. He was just talking about, or it got brought up in there, is that the Bears center Drew Dahlman just retired. And just now, Adolfo Owe unlikely to be franchise tag. Same with Trey Hendrickson. Edge Jonathan Grenard up for being traded. That is kind of weird and unique. I was not expecting that to happen. Scott Jung and W4 Omega, welcome. So moving on down, Kenneth Walker won't be franchised. Brees Hall did get the franchise tag. Eagles interested in David Njoku. That is fantastic for Njoku. If you've been scooping Njoku, you're happy. If you haven't, that probably scares you a little bit. I heard this about a month ago that Pat Fryermuth was possibly going to be traded. They save a little bit of money if they end up trading him away. Let me bring it up on Over the Cap real quick. So for him specifically, if it's trade pre-June 1, they lose a little bit, but they gain value as well, right? If they cut him, it's basically the same as them trading him. Now, if they trade him post June 1st, and I don't know how that all works, like if they can agree on a trade and then just have the trade official afterwards, but the trade and cut post June 1st, seems pretty likely, to be honest with you, if they do have some trouble with the money. So that'll be something interesting to watch as well. Back over here, Tyler Lindenbaum, if he ends up going to the Raiders, that's a fantastic thing. That is a spot that they've not been very good at, the entire offensive line. So with Lindenbaum, if he does end up on the Raiders, that's a huge piece for them. Their centers aren't really that good in this class, right? Right, Steve? Welcome, Steve, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good.
Just jumping in here. I'm sorry, you were saying about Lindenbaum on the Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders are expected to make a strong run at him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just catching up on this Drew Dalman news, but no, I saw that about Lindenbaum to the Raiders.
And then
I think Lindenbaum is going to be the belle of the ball for free agency for a lot of teams. Chargers, Raiders, now maybe the Bears. Potentially my Washington Commanders. Commanders have over 70 million in cap space also. A lot of teams, and they just cut Tyler Biadasz. A lot of teams who have cap space. Bears don't currently, but the other three that I mentioned do. Absolutely need a center. So, and Ravens are I'm sure going to still make a strong offer as well. So, Yeah, I think the Lindenbaum thing is going to be interesting, especially now on top of the Dahlman news.
Yeah, and this literally just broke while I was going over the other news. The transition tag official on Daniel Jones, which is fantastic for the Colts and for Daniel Jones, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see a team really spending what he's going to cost to get with the transition tag.
The thing is, though, someone with a ton of cap space could. Now, would he go to the Jets? Is the question. But because the Colts don't have a lot of, the transition tag, it's twofold. One, the Colts can match any offer, but it has to be the exact offer. It's not just like the terms. It's not, say somebody offers Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Colts probably would do that, but they want to structure it on their terms, where the Jets could front load it and kind of screw over the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, we are actually here to do rookies. I don't have your pre-combine. I don't, because we did this exercise before. Like, we were debating on how to do this, if we wanted to just discuss everything like individually, or if we wanted to roll it into our new rankings. And we decided that like we might as well roll it into the new rankings, and we can discuss all the combine news and why we're moving people up and down based on that. We did this on his channel. It was like late January or early February. I can't remember the exact. So I just put late January, and I have all of my ranks, and they weren't near what your ranks were. I remember. So do we want to start? What position do we want to start with?
I mean, let's get the easy ones out of the way, like tight end and quarterback, I say.
Yeah. All right. So tight end, very easy up here at the top. We got Kenyon Sadiq. I'm what 100% positive you have Sadiq at 1 as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so as you see, before the combine, I had Trigg at 2, Stowers at 3, Claire, and then Indries. And I have definitely changed that. And I only went to 6 because I only think that 2 of these people should be drafted right now. And Stowers easily jumped Trigg. He actually jumped Trigg before the combine for me. And Trigg not testing is a little weird. Like I think that he needed to be a highway speed guy. So I not only moved him from 2, I moved him all the way to 4. And I can easily move him back up to 3, but there's no way he's going to pass Stowers again. Like for me, that was a little aggressive.
Agreed. His pro day numbers would have to be off the charts, because Stowers essentially was off the charts.
Yeah. So go ahead and go with your other position, like Eli.
So Stowers is my number 2.
Okay.
And I think there's a gap, kind of what like you alluded to. And then I have Claire, and then my 4th is Sam Roush.
Oh, you actually like Roush. I do like Roush, but I don't know. It's CH, right? Or it's SCH.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Yeah. So I do like him as well. I just don't know if I want him in like a best ball format, and I'm doing this for like in like a deeper dynasty style thing. I think Roush is very, very clickable.
Yeah. So what I'll point to Sam Roush. So originally, what your post combine is, that was my pre combine. Those were my top 6, and then Roush was my 7th. I moved Roush up to 4. He tested as an elite athlete, especially for his size. People will focus on the 40 time, but as I talked about with Cody the other day, like every other number was incredible for Roush, and he did it at 20 pounds heavier than basically any other tight end out there.
To allude to that, we can just go over here to tight end. And Roush didn't run that, but he did.
No, he did. He ran a 4.7 in the 40, but his split was like the 3rd fastest. So his 10-yard split. So it's like maybe not 3rd, but it was up there. 1.61. So it was tied with all these other higher tight ends, and even higher than some guys who tested faster than him.
Right. Yeah.
And then his jumps were off the charts. And the fact is, he's doing this at a, if you use RAS score, from MathBomb, on Twitter, he had the highest tight end RAS score.
Oh, I didn't realize that he ended up with the highest. I missed that.
Yeah, because of his height weight, factors in so much better. Yes, Sadiq's was insane as well, but I believe he had the highest.
Yeah, so as Paul said, Trig had the incredible wingspan, which is kind of on brand. Like I always thought that he was a comp to Jermichael Finley, and like that man had an insanely big wingspan too. What's up, Sweet Leaf? How we doing? Yeah, so back to the rookies. Who do you have at 5 then?
So at 5, I have Jack Endries, and then I would say Trig and Jolly. I mean, neither tested, so they're kind of tied for me right now there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, basically, I don't think. Are you mixing in Rouse or not?
I took him like the other day, one time in the 20th round. I'll take a couple shares of him in the 20th round.
Yeah.
Because what I'll say about him is his size, his blocking ability. That always was going to get him drafted. But now, with his athletic profile being in the area that it's in, that now could make him a day 2 guy, like probably a 3rd rounder, and from a team that could just get him on the field more. And I don't think it's going to be a major usage, but he could. I mean, that size is going to play in the red zone for sure. So he could be a guy who has 5 touchdowns as a rookie or something crazy like that. So do I expect a lot from him? No. But I think he's now live for day 2 of the NFL draft. And in the right team, could he get 5 touchdowns? Sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I basically I don't know if I'm going to click anyone other than Stowers and Sadiq. I'll probably just take the other players. I assume you have Mendoza 1, right?
Yeah.
All right. Shocker to everybody. Sorry to ruin the surprise, but where are you at on your quarterback 2?
So to me, it is Simpson, but
I agree.
I'm not taking him in best ball because if you would ask me who's a better chance to start this year, I actually think like 3 and probably 4 are more live for that. And now I'll just give them 3 is Nussmeier, 4 is Beck.
Really? So
yeah, I just think their ability to play as rookies would be more like in the right situation. Like they go to the Dolphins and Dolphins don't add much, and they're competing against what's his name?
The way I view it, I think that Simpson is probably a lock to be top 50, and then 3, 4, and 5 to me are all really, really close, and I think they're all going to go in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think Nussmeier is the only one who could sneak into round 2. And maybe that's like late Rams round 2, as their future quarterback.
This is actually my ranking. I have Nuss 5, but I view them all very similar.
I have Aller at 5. It's just he's coming off the injury and a really, really down year. So and that's why, I think Beck, he comes in the healthiest of this bunch. Nuss dealt with an injury, though he was fine for the Senior Bowl and obviously very fine for the Combine. So I think he's healthier now. Yeah. But Beck, played well this year. I mean, not great, but he played well. Where Nussmeier, Aller, Klubnik, those other guys did not. So
yeah, Aller didn't play fantastic this year for sure, but he had in the past, right? So we'll get into that when we talk about running backs. Like some things that like this guy had an awesome combine, but his play during the season felt a little weird. But so did another player who we're going to talk about at running back, which is Singleton, right? Both of them kind of played poorly their second, this last year. but they played fantastic the year before. So it's an interesting thing. Like maybe Aller's play affected Singleton's. Maybe it was just the offense in general being a little weaker, which doesn't make sense with Katron Allen's ability to look really good, right?
Yeah.
So wide receivers, I think, is going to take a while to get through. Like I have 21 ranked right now. There are some I haven't got to, like Jeff Caldwell, and like I'm just going to say it here, like Jeff Caldwell, he's going to be drafted now. He wasn't going to be drafted probably. Like at most he goes like 6th round. Like I would not be upset that he's not in the best ball pool. Like he probably just saving you a pick. Now for a for a dynasty league on a 4th round swing, like I think he's actually a super fun dynasty like 4th round swing if you're in something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that in those situations he'd be fine. But so Ty Simpson like kind of checked all the boxes though, right? He looked fine. He interviewed pretty well. But he also didn't jump off the page and prove that he deserved to be like a 1st round pick either. So I think he's kind of a lock into round 2. I mean, he might go. A team may trade into the back end of the 1st round, or the Rams may
I think
take him
that's
at
the
29.
most likely scenario. Yeah.
But like, I think that early round 2, like if somebody really does like him, they may trade up in front of like the Browns to make sure they get him, right? But I don't know. I do think that like weirdly the Browns might be a good situation for him. Like if they're gonna play Watson or Shadur, right? Like I'm not saying he's gonna learn from him, but he's pretty clear to play late in the season. I think in either one of those situations, and he might not get any help to learn, but like he should be at least a clear pathway, especially running into next year in the dynasty stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with Simpson, particularly for like Dynasty's fine, but like Underdog, he's just not going to contribute this year. Like, maybe he would play late in the year for a team like Cleveland or a team like Miami or the Jets, but even still, we're talking 3-4 games probably max. And I understand those are the playoffs, but he's just very raw. He's just a long-term bet. And that is why I could see him sneaking into the 1st round, because then you buy out that 5th-year option.
Right.
If you know you're saving him year 1, getting that 5th-year option is even more valuable.
We've talked about this for years, and like it's been a while since the team's actually done that. Because we kind of wondered if somebody would do it with Tyler Shuck last year. They decided not to.
Yeah.
And it's worked out a couple times when they haven't. Like whenever the teams have done it, they've failed. Whenever they've sat and taken the guys, you get Lamar Jackson and Tyler Shuck. Like it's kind of like a bad omen to do that.
But no, I just think I don't see the Rams. I don't like people tie Simpson.
I don't think so either.
To the Rams or the Steelers. I don't see either one because I think they're in win now mode. Whether they should be or not is another debate, but they're in win now mode. Right. And I think it's probably Jets, Browns, Dolphins, but not at their current draft picks. Like it'd be the Dolphins, maybe they trade back in the 1st round, like not from their 2nd round to another 1st round pick, but trade from their early 1st round pick, stockpile picks, be like, we are not doing anything this year. We are terrible. Let's stockpile picks. Let's take pick. We trade with the Bills. So the Bills come up and get a receiver. We get Ty Simpson, that kind of thing.
We got a question here. What about Taylor Green? I thought that like throwing the ball, he did not look good at all.
Yeah.
He didn't really do it that well in college. He's going to get drafted, and whatever team that drafts him, I was in Ohio. Like I'm not an Ohio State fan anymore because I can't claim it because I don't watch enough football in college, so I can't claim fandom. But when I used to watch it, I was an Ohio State fan, and like back with Terrell Pryor, like this guy is a less accurate, more athletic version of Pryor. And like Pryor couldn't make it as a quarterback in the NFL, and I personally don't see him being able to.
Yeah, I mean, my quick thought on Taylor Green, and I said this like right after the Senior Bowl, I did a little write up, and I said Taylor Green is somebody to draft, not for underdog, or somebody to watch for preseason DFS contests. You want to play preseason
Yeah.
DFS? You give me a half of Taylor Green, he's going to light it up. He's
I
going to
mean,
win you a lot of money that
absolutely.
way.
And if you're wanting to if you're in deep dynasty leagues, like if we want to go down that route,
Yeah,
Taylor Green a shot as a mid third and a super flex, like I probably wouldn't want to spend a second on him, but like a third, even a fourth, maybe.
yeah,
But
fourth.
this wide receiver class is nutty.
Yeah,
Like this wide receiver class, like I am incredibly bullish on it. So
I think in Dynasty it would be Superflex only, and if you
yeah,
are like you can stockpile some extra picks, like you trade back and get a couple fourths or something like
yeah.
third, but so Taylor Green, like I think he's a day 3 quarterback. I think he's a project. I think teams will, see if he can cut it at quarterback, see if he can develop, but he needs to go to a situation where he's going to just be on the practice squad or just sit and develop. He actually has some real life value to NFL teams because he can simulate like these other rushing quarterbacks.
And Cole Payton, by the way, looked fine and everything. Like he was very inconsistent, but when he threw the ball, like occasionally he would throw the ball well.
Yeah.
I don't think like he's definitely not worth an earlier pick, but he does have a profile that's probably worth a team like trying to mess with to see if they could correct some things
Yeah, no, I'm
later
with
in the
you on that.
draft. But like for now, I would be pretty out on him. All right. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. What do you got at running back? Name your top 3 or your top 2. We'll go top 2 first because it's Jeremiah Love and then
Whoa, are you sure it's Jeremiah Love?
I'm all right. Like we'll put Jeremiah Love at 10. Got it.
It's clearly Jonah Coleman. No,
Yeah.
No, Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. That's where I'm at.
I think that's pretty obvious. That Price should be like so. Emmett Johnson went, but he didn't perform well, and Coleman didn't do anything other than the bench. And then he must have thought he was going to be number 1 on the bench, and he was not at all number 1 on the bench. He didn't do bad at it, but he had 22 reps, I think it was.
That's a pretty good number, though.
Yeah, it's a good number. Price had about the same. Emmett Johnson at the bottom, but like 16 is not bad, right?
No, and especially for a smaller guy.
Yeah, I mean he's the same size as Jadarian Price. Weirdly, like we all thought Price was going to be bigger. But in my opinion, he looked really solid in the drills. Like his ability to read and react and move and all that stuff. It looked clean. I know some people are going to move him down because he didn't run as fast as they think and all this other stuff. It didn't change my opinion at all. Like I thought he looked just fine. I had him and Emmett Johnson back to back with Emmett with a slight nod because of the pass catching. And Jadarian Price, by the way, looked very solid in all the pass catching drills, which was the question going in.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. Like Price, I think the combine was most important for Jadarian Price for this reason. He needed to show more in the drills, which he did, and particularly the pass catching drills, because that was just not part of his game at all. Now, I don't think anyone's taking him and being like, okay, we're going to throw the ball 60 times to you next year, but they're saying, okay, we can throw the ball 30 times to you next year, and you're not going to be awful at it, and if you can get plus, another 10, 15 targets, sure, maybe you can earn that. But he's not just a 2-down back. So there's at least some ability for him to be utilized in the passing game. So for me, third, I'm still keeping Emmett Johnson there.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I also am keeping Emmett Johnson there. I wasn't sure because you originally had Jonah Coleman too, right?
No, I had Emmett Johnson 2, Jonah Coleman 3, Jadavion Price 4.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll go with my spiel. Like, I get it. Maybe I'm being too stubborn. He had a really bad combine, and the honestly, like, so the 10-yard split, he actually ran the same 10-yard split that Claiborne, who ran a 4.3, 4.37 did, right? Which Jam Miller to 153 is nutty. Like, and Mike Watt at 151 is insane, right? But he's not in the like in every single metric. He wasn't in the absolute like not an NFL prospect. He was like below average, but not like dead range, right? But like you watch the tape, you put it on, and this guy is making everybody miss all the time. His vision is insane, and like the 3 cone being the only one to do it and then posting this horrible time, like that is the thing that scares me and makes me wonder about it.
That's the thing that scares me. The tough thing with it is so few running backs even attempt a 3 cone. Right. So we don't have the same barometer. Like 40 time 10-yard splits, we have great barometers for, but we also know it doesn't mean quite a lot.
But
and
like
I mentioned this during
you look at the wide receivers and none of them, even the 6'3" guy, like are even close to that bad. Like all of these other ones are 7 and under. But when you get to pick the drills you're good at, like the question is my biggest question, every single Emmett Johnson drill was bad. It's almost like he showed up and there was something wrong and he didn't end up bowing out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's a thing that happened. I don't know for sure. It's just a thought, but like he just continued through all of it. And I'm not going to overreact to the combine. I said that before the combine. I am worried. Like I had him massively ahead of, like I had Price and Johnson way ahead of the rest of the group. Which I know you didn't, but like I had those two well above. Now I have Emmett, like I have Price still above and Johnson all the way down with the other 4 people that I have. So like it is a big deal, but I do still like him the most.
Yeah. And so what I want to point to is 40 time is definitely the least important of these. Like yes. And the 3 cone, I wish the jumps were better because a lot of times, and I brought up Alvin Kamara, who, at his combine was essentially the same size, like 5-pound difference, and had the exact same 40 time. And also similar profile, very good pass catcher, explosive back, because that was Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson was one of the leaders in college football in explosive runs. That was shown in PFF. That was just shown if you watched the games. And, I just think now Kamara had better jumps, like somebody like Scadaboo last year, different body type had better jumps.
Right.
I will point to another guy and a guy you're familiar with. And again, let's not think of him how he was last year, but Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, combine, I have his numbers up right now, 5'10", 216, 4.62 40 time, 36-inch vertical jump, 119 broad jump. So 18 bench press reps. So kind of similar, kind of across the board. And again, another like 3rd-round pick.
And he ended up going in round 1 in all of the dynasty things, but he was also like 12, 15 pounds heavier, right?
Well, what did Emmett Johnson weigh?
206, I believe.
Okay, so he was 10 pounds heavier. 216 was Kareem Hunt.
202. 5'10", 202. He does have giant hands, which for a running back, which is really good for the receiving game. And that's the most bullish part of his profile was how good he was in the receiving game. And if you get him in space, the 3-cone definitely worries me a little bit.
Yeah.
But you see it on tape, like his ability to like jump cut and stuff, like it was there. I don't know why we didn't see it in these drills. Like it definitely need to go back and rewatch it. I watched a little bit more and I seen the same thing I did the first time. I don't know. And I could just be wrong. And as Flyfish says, Yeah, you're hoping for like the Bucky thing, but like
Exactly.
let's go Vince
Well,
Wilfork.
well, and I mean, there's just so many guys, and I get somewhere like bigger, like Le'Veon Bell, 6'1", 230, but he tested awful. Like his testing numbers were not good. And we've just seen a lot of guys who don't and running backs, particularly and why I say the 40 time matters at least is
Yeah.
a lot of guys who excel at it have former track backgrounds, and even at running back, Damon Claiborne, former track guy. I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing Emmett Johnson was not like a high school track guy, because that usually is a big factor for why you have a great 40 time.
And Estel here is saying like it reflects poor judgment to be the only one to run something and then be bad, but like it could be just a bad agent too.
Well, it could just also be like he knew it wasn't going to be great, but yeah, he had a bad time, and maybe he does the 3-cone again at his pro day, or during individual, like when teams bring him in, they might say, hey, we kind of need to see this. The other tough thing is it's hard to judge how important it is because so few running backs we have data for a 3-cone.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I do think that where we were taking him originally at 130 or 118, like I was, like that's not correct. But I do think the market is going to overcorrect on him. I've seen him go in the 160s several times now.
Yeah.
And I'm probably still going to end with like 25%. And when it's wrong, I'm still happy that I use if I end up being like, I would much rather buy in a little bit at the reduced price on a player that I love the tape on. Like if you didn't like the tape, like still fade. Like it's a great time to fully fade him then. But like I love the tape. So I want to buy him some at a reduced price because I think that it may be overvalued a little bit at this point.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to mention is he's fallen. The other interesting thing, and you kind of mentioned this. Some people were down on Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price has fallen. I think that's a huge mistake at this point.
Well, the overarching everywhere I'm seeing, like I listen to PFF, I listen to all kinds of other places, and all of them are saying that he didn't have a great combine. And like if you watch the combine, Daniel Jeremiah was talking about how great he looked in the position drills, and it's kind of weird that we heard that. Like I haven't heard Dane Brugler hasn't said anything specific on Price yet, and he hasn't really attacked the Emmett Johnson thing that I've seen either. But I don't think he liked Emmett Johnson as much in the first place, which does worry me a bit.
Yeah, Dane Brewer had him like 70th or 75th on his first 100. I'm guessing he fell.
Right. I mean, I still think that Emmett Johnson goes like worst case scenario. I think Emmett Johnson goes around 4. It's kind of where I'm at.
I agree. And the reason I bring up some of these guys like Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara is they went 3rd round in much better draft classes. This is a bad draft class. This is just going to naturally pull guys up. Whether it should or shouldn't, we just see it every year. We see it in bad, receiver classes, guys get pulled up. We see in bad tight end classes, guys get pulled up. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I think Emmett Johnson is probably most likely a third rounder at this point.
All right. So number 4, I moved Mike Washington up ahead of Jonah Coleman. I think you can easily argue that Washington should go ahead of Emmett. Who do you have it for, by the way?
I still have Jonah Coleman just because we didn't get any testing. Like if Jonah Coleman comes in and runs a 4.7, okay, yeah, I'm going to change things. But if he comes in and runs what we expect him to run, a 4.58, even a 4.6 at his size, I'm not going to be that concerned. And my thought in it is, one, Jonah Coleman did have the quote of the combine where he said, you're paying him $30 million, you're paying me $2 million. Who's more important? Talking about blocking for a quarterback. NFL teams are going to love him. he does enough of everything well. And he, just from, well, I think Mike Washington could end up going higher than him in the draft. I don't think it's a lock that some people think it is. Washington's an older prospect. I mean, not as old as McGowan, but he's an older prospect. And, he kind of only had, very late breakout age. If we're talking about like, young breakout age, Jonah Coleman for 3 straight years has been a highly productive, starting capable running back, first at Arizona and then 2 at Washington. He catches the ball well enough. He's not elite there, but he doesn't hurt himself. And he blocks. So he's going to get on the field, and also just between the tackle work near the goal line. So, I could see him finding that role.
Yeah, I think Jonah Coleman's a lock for probably, like, he's a top 4 round lock. He probably goes, like, I do think Jonah Coleman goes before Emmett Johnson in the draft. I'm not going to be. I don't think Emmett Johnson goes before Jonah Coleman anymore. Just because like Emmett's profile is way riskier because of the size. Like Jonah Coleman could post similar numbers and just be a better prospect because of his size, right? And I thought he was going to be slower than the 4.49 they posted, but like I do think he's going to run around a 4.6, and that's the same that Emmett did. So, and he has the willingness to block, and he's fine up at all that stuff. I'm moving Mike Washington up purely because so. By the way, like this is not like last year's class. Last year's class was awesome. I was really out on a certain player that you really liked in Caleb Johnson. Mike Washington Jr. to me is Caleb Johnson of this class.
I think that's fair.
But he actually has the speed, unlike Caleb Johnson. I always question the speed for Caleb Johnson, but like if he gets outside, he's fine. The difference is like Caleb Johnson always made touchdowns on those long runs, even though his speed wasn't there. Mike Washington, when he gets the outside lane, like he finds a way to find a defender and get tackled. Like I don't know how he never secures touchdowns on those long runs. Like it's wild that he never like. And I do think that in the short area, he's not fantastic, but like the guy's huge and he's fast. Like you put him on the outside, and he's not Derrick Henry, but you play him like teams have played with Derrick Henry, he's going to be a solid back, but he's going to require to not get hit in the backfield to get started, and then he's going to be able to chug along. But he also doesn't shrug arm tackles as well as a lot of the bigger backs with speed.
Exactly.
So I'm not like real bullish on him. Like I'm basically going to avoid all of the running backs most likely and just draft wide receivers this year in dynasty settings. Like I don't really want any Mike Washington. Jonah Coleman, like if he falls, I'll be fine with. But Mike Washington is going to start going in the late first, and I'm fully out there. I've already seen it. Like I've seen him go like 106, 107. It's like, okay, no.
What you mean in dynasty?
Yeah, dynasty. My bad. I said the wrong thing. Reminds you of Ron Dane. I mean, I could see that. Like, Branch was such a beast. Where's the production? I want to like him. Oh, we'll get to Deion Branch.
My thought is, and to no surprise, Mike Washington's my 5th. And
you can't ignore.
No,
you can't ignore the numbers. Like they're not everything, but you can't ignore this.
So what I say about Mike Washington is, I think, let me just talk about this running back class as a whole. Love is somewhere in the top 10, right? I mean, that feels like a lock right now. Jadarian Price, I think, is a clear second rounder. No chance he sneaks into the first round. Now he could go early second round if a team really loves him and is desperate.
I absolutely want Price to end up in KC. Like that has been my goal this whole time.
That'd be fun.
Like as a Chiefs fan, like number one, I hope we pull whatever tackle we want up, and then we take Price in round 2. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. If Cardinal Tate's there, I think I'd be pretty happy with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Price, I think, is kind of your round 2 guy, and I think he's probably the only guy in round 2. Maybe a very outside chance one of these next 3, and I think it could be any of them. It's like if you want the more power back blocker, John Coleman. If you want the pass catching guy, Emma Johnson. If you just want the speed athletic guy, it's Mike Washington. And I think they, one of those 3, and I know people would be shocked if it's Emma Johnson, but like, trust me when I say crazier things have happened. Go in the second round, but more likely all 3 of those guys are third rounders in my book. And I think the order, like you said, could go any which way. Very easily could see Coleman the earliest of those 3. It's just a matter of team fit, how one falls in love with them, etc. So right. I think those 3 are probably all round 3 guys.
Yes, I agree. And like, I think that 3 or 4, like all 3 of these are anywhere in round 3 or round 4. If one of them gets moved up to round 2, like RJ Harvey did, I think it's just a reach.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that teams aren't dumb enough to do that. So it's absolutely on the table. Where are we at on running back 6 for you?
So running back 6, I'm going to go with Katron Allen.
All right. And I believe I put him here. Yeah. Which I'll just put my running back 6 was Claiborne. I moved him up above Katron's. Yeah. But go ahead with Katron.
Katron, you talked about it. He was the one Penn State guy who didn't really see any decrease in production this past year. I think just watching the game, some of it was when the coaching staff switched. One, Nicholas Singleton was dealing with an nagging injury for part of the year. But when the coaching staff switched, they just seemed to rely on Katron more. Whether it was like James Franklin was more of a, 2-back bull or however it was, they just relied on Katron a little bit more. And then at the end of the year when, Drew Aller was hurt, Singleton still had a couple of good games, but it was still more like the Katron Allen show. I think they're.
Whoops.
I'm not as questionable in Singleton's year as you are, just because from a pass catching standpoint, from a total, like a touchdown standpoint, he was still so good. And honestly, I look at these 2 players, they're very interesting because we're not talking about overlapping, like one was there for 2 years and then, like they only overlap for 2 years. They overlap for 4 years, and they were both just highly used, highly quality backs. And I think both have NFL futures. What I like about Allen is he's more the early down guy, much better vision.
Yeah.
He's just like your bread and butter, like just between the tackles, can do a lot, near the goal line also. His passing work needs some work. But I think there's a lot of teams will like him as like a poor man's John Coleman.
I don't know that he really needs that much work in the passing game. Like I don't know if you guys can read this. I try to make it to where it's a little more legible. But he had 25 targets and 23 targets the last 2 years. He had 25 the year that Singleton had 52.
Yeah.
And he had 18 receptions both years. Yes, he turned it into like almost negative yards somehow.
Yeah.
But like, and that's really weird with Singleton having insane yards per route run. But like, it's not the ability to catch the ball; it's the ability to turn it upfield and turn it into something. And that could have just been a weird setup thing. I don't know why that is, but he definitely improved massively when Singleton didn't. Like, he went up. Like, Singleton's production dropped further than Allen's increased, which to me was always a red flag on Singleton. And it sucks that Singleton didn't get a play this year or do the combine, because he probably would have looked pretty good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And That's why I'm just not totally out on Singleton, because I think a lot of it was he dealt with an injury, and then just the coaching change seemed to impact him more.
Yeah, and I don't even hate having Katron about, like, I personally think that, like, I think the top three are kind of set in my eyes. I always did. I only moved Mike Washington up here mostly for like best ball reasons. Like, I'm not drafting him where he's going at all in Dynasty and stuff. And I'm probably taking Jonah Coleman over him in best ball. But like, if we're talking pure upside, and like Mike Washington does, I think, have it. So my number 6 is actually Claiborne, though, and I was much higher on him before the combine than you were.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that he had the absolute speed, but what he showed is that he actually, in the drills and stuff, he looked a lot more spry in his like lateral movement than I really expected him to. You didn't see it like at Wake Forest. I didn't see it as much, but he looked a little better. Katron Allen, like, I like him, but I didn't love him. I kind of think these two are kind of exact same tier. I have them back to back basically in my rankings, with like zero difference, like completely different players, but like value wise to me, they're, in my eyes, they're the exact same. Before the combine, I thought Claiborne was a much bigger home run swing shot with a low chance to hit, but with the combine, with that 40 time plus, like, so he was not a good pass catcher. Like, he wasn't as good. Like, I was worried about it because he had 6 drops on 38 targets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the year before, he had 29 targets and only 2 drops. So it's like, is this fake or what? He looked very clean catching the ball at the combine.
Yeah.
He like reached out, caught it in his hands, never let it come to his body. And like, a lot of the times drops are attributed, like, I didn't watch all of them. Sometimes it was the quarterback just threw a bad ball and it got accredited to the receiver, right?
He got a lot of bad balls for sure.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get a lot of great balls. So I'm pretty bullish on Devon Claiborne now. I really like him and Katron Allen's price in best ball right now, both of them. I think they're both really good picks.
I do agree with that. Like, and I've Claiborne at 8, and 7 for me is still Nicholas Singleton, because I'm not going to knock him. The injury doesn't sound like it's going to impact him at all. It's only impacting him during this testing time, and I just know he's fast. Like, if he went to the combine and ran like a 4.5, I would say the combine was pro. Like, he just runs away from everyone in college. So I'm Singleton, then Claiborne. But I do agree with a lot of what you said. Claiborne, he needed a fast time because that's his calling card.
And he needed to prove that he could like actually catch the ball professionally.
Yeah.
And like, do you have him at 7?
I have Singleton at 7, Claiborne at 8. Okay. But I kind of like you. I think this is a very close tier. I think all 3 of these guys are 4th round running backs. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to come down to team preference, really.
I don't remember exactly. I think I put Singleton there. You're not going to like this guy. I think you know who it is.
Randall? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was in on him before. So like, you said something on your stream the other day that I'm going to combat a little bit. You were saying that he outperformed, like, Mike Washington outperformed him at New Mexico State. This was the New Mexico State year.
Yeah.
And Seth McGowan absolutely in every single metric outproduced Mike Washington.
So in
like 38.
No, McGowan was definitely the pass catcher that year. No,
yeah.
I mean, in general, he's a better pass catcher.
Yards after contact, 3.75 to 3.08. Yards, like, exact same amount of carries. And he had 130 more yards. Like,
I thought McGowan had 7 something that year. I thought it was much closer, but
yeah. These
or
are
Mike Washington. I mean, I thought Mike Washington
had 697. This is maybe I mean, I mean, let's do a live look in on PFF.
Is it not counting his? Well, they didn't have a bowl game that year.
Mike,
because I thought I looked up New Mexico State and it was like 8 something to 7 something. I could have sworn, but maybe I had that wrong.
I mean, it's easy to like mix up some stats. It is like I'm not like trying to call you out, but I just wanted to be like, are you sure? Right? Like, because I heard you say that the other day.
So I have Mike Washington stats. I'm looking on Sports Reference. Mike Washington, he had 725 yards, rushing yards.
So rushing. I mean, I could have easily put it in there incorrectly as well. So they have something wrong. So one of the two is wrong. I mean, 725, like it's still less on the same amount of. How many carries did he have?
It was 152 for 823 for McGowan, 157 for 725. So 5.4 versus 4.6. The difference is Mike Washington had 8 touchdowns. McGowan only had 3.
Yeah. I will say that. That was the one thing I was going to say. Washington did get the touchdowns, but like all the other stats and like even the missed tackles for stuff, like McGowan destroyed him. And elusiveness rating way higher, which is weird because it was real low. It was lower when they went to Kentucky. So like it was just something I wanted to bring up over like I like McGowan. I think he's been fine. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to like I'm not really drafting anybody under Katron Allen. I've taken 1 or 2 shares of McGowan. I've taken a few shares of Singleton. I do think I'm more willing to mix in Singleton. I like McGowan more, but I don't think he's going to get the draft capital. And Singleton, I don't like him as a prospect, but I do think that for best ball, he's a much better pick than McGowan. So this is just like what I believe for the prospects.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the McGowan stuff.
Yeah,
it's not just the New Mexico State, because I think they were even. I watched a couple games from it and maybe the games I watched were just more Mike Washington games than McGowan, and somewhat maybe the touchdown bias of
right. When you have a split backfield, it's really easy if you only watch 2 or 3 games to like come away with something, you know.
Yeah. And for me, it's more what they did this past year. They both go to the SEC, both on kind of mid-tier SEC teams, and Mike Washington was, to me, the far better player in the SEC.
With that, and this is my pushback with that. Mike Washington was the much better player, but he also, we as fantasy football analysts believe that rushing quarterbacks are massive for success of running backs. And Mike Washington went to Taylon Green and they could run the ball no matter what. Like it didn't matter who was back there. They were going to run the ball.
Sure.
So I'm not saying that we should say Mike Washington had no production because of that, but I do think that if McGowan went there instead of Washington, it wouldn't look the same because he doesn't have the speed. But I do think McGowan would have had the better year if they flopped positions as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arkansas, overall was probably a better team than Kentucky.
They were definitely a better running team.
Yeah. It's I think it's like I said, they're a mid-tier SEC team. Some of it is they both play tough schedules. Is how I look at it. And to me, Mike Washington just flashed more, did more. It's also they both go to the Senior Bowl. Mike Washington was a clear winner of the Senior Bowl. Like every write-up, every highlight was about him. McGowan was just there, right? McGowan's first or second touch in the Senior Bowl, he fumbled.
And that is a big thing too.
It's not just that, but to me, I just don't see the vision with McGowan. And then the other thing is McGowan's like a year and a half older than Mike Washington.
Right,
so they're both older prospects in the SEC. So, these are 25 and 23-year-old beating up on 20-year-olds in the SEC. Right.
Yeah, both of them were.
Yeah.
I went ahead and just unloaded the rest of my ranks, and whenever you're
Yeah,
done,
and just the final thing is, I think because of all those things and the fact that McGowan has a major, criminal history, he will get drafted. But Mike Washington's going to be a day 3 guy or day 2 guy, 3rd round at worst, right?
Did you hear the stories coming out about that from the Arkansas staff or the Kentucky staff about McGowan?
No, what?
Basically, they're like, he's one of the most stand-up people you'll ever meet, and
No, I mean, I think,
and like that it completely, like, when that happened, he like completely changed everything, and he was like the biggest role model on the team, which, number one, like, he's basically their uncle, number one,
yeah,
like, so there's
no,
that. But he's also, did some really bad thing, because I believe it was armed robbery.
it was armed robbery. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
talking Cam Newton stealing computers from
Yeah.
the I
Yeah.
mean, that was bad and got him kicked out of Florida to
Or
transfer
the
to
Jameis
Auburn. But
thing or whatever, it's
yeah,
not
like,
those things.
we're just
Yeah.
talking a much different level
Right.
there. And for me, it's like, I don't see McGowan, like, maybe McGowan gets 4th round. I think just given everything and just given that he's older, NFL teams are more likely to take him 5th, 6th, 7th round.
I kind of think everybody outside of number 7 there, Katron Allen, like, and Claiborne may not get a top 100 pick either, or even a 4th round pick. I kind of think, like, even Singleton will get a higher pick than I think, like probably a 4th round pick, but I think everybody else is 4th or later. I do think that a team will spend a 4th rounder on McGowan. That's what and that's like the upside for him too.
Yeah,
I just think one team. It only takes one team, and I
sure.
think that one team will think he's worth that pick. And in a really weak running back class, I think that having that big back that McGowan is, I think, is something they'll want. So,
I mean, possibly, and maybe, and that could change my opinion if he does get like 4th round draft capital.
right.
I'm just personally not banking on that, given everything out there with
Oh
him.
yeah, I mean it. I can easily be wrong here, but I like him. I do like him. So who do you got at 9? We can just read off the rest. And
Yeah.
Anybody,
So,
we'll just kind of like touch on these players.
My 9 is Le'Veon Moss. It seems like he's healthier. Still think he's no better than a 4th rounder, probably more like 5th round. Then my 10 is, I'm sticking with my Jaden Ott. He wasn't at the combine, but I think when he does test, I think he's going to test well. And his breakout age was so young, like the last 2 years were weird, but teams like that. And then I'll just read them off. My 11 is Jamari Taylor.
Okay.
12 is Kalen Black, another guy. I don't understand why he wasn't at the combine.
Yeah, I put him at the very bottom because it's really concerning to me that he didn't go to the combine, but he looked fine.
Yeah, and like, sometimes they don't. A lot of people go to the combine who had criminal history, but somehow Seth McGowan's there, so I don't know. Right. But anyway, so Adam Randall would be 13, Hemby 14, and then Reed 15.
And then Reed, yeah. I just went with the ones that I had ranked, and then I threw in Jam Miller. Jam Miller's, so the biggest riser from the combine should be Jam Miller. I kind of think it'll be hard for him not to get like at least a 5th round capital at this point. He did go to Alabama. I know he didn't have a lot of production, but like, he really did look good. So I've seen some people say that they kind of liked his tape, but they didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the combine is going to make him go back and look at him again. So I think that everything after, basically, like after 9 here, after Singleton, I think it's all just a crapshoot, like complete crapshoot. And I think if you want to, you can throw McGowan down in there as well. I just like him. So And I think Singleton, like, I dislike him because of the huge drop in production, but it could just be a blip, as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go with this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
So before we start this, I'm going to say what I believe so nobody gets super upset about the rankings. I believe there's a absolute unquestioned top 7 that these 7 people will for sure go in the first 2 rounds. And I mean, by first 2 rounds, I mean, I think that these 7 people go by the top 50. And then after that, I think that 7 through, I think it was 16, I think those are going to go, they might go ahead of the other 7, but I think all of those will be gone by pick 100. So
Yeah.
just because I have somebody ranked at 9 doesn't mean I hate them. And I don't like the guy at 14 to me is pretty close. I just separated them based on some things.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's how my rankings go. I don't know how yours are.
So
like
for me, I heavily weight like year 1 underdog production. So like
I did here.
We'll talk about this when we get to him, but just for me, like somebody like Zachariah Branch, I think is going to go higher than some guys I've listed. I would bet heavily on that.
Correct. And another one in that is Deion Burks. I think is the same model as well.
And I know this is your guy, and we'll talk about him. And I know you probably didn't stay to the end of my draft, but I took Bryce Lance in the 20th round, and I think he's going to go higher. I think he's going to go.
I think he's a lock for top 100 now.
No, agreed.
I was like, I think he might be a 4th round pick, but with an excellent combine, he might be able to sneak into the 3rd. That wasn't an excellent combine. That was an insane combine.
Yeah, I think he's 2nd round. And we'll talk about that more when we get to it. But I don't consider him the same level for underdog just because he is coming from a smaller school and all that. So
it's going to take him a while.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But for me, I'm heavily favoring these ranks as not how I think they go order of the draft, but how I think they go, for underdog production.
I will say this though. I think the combine I think it shook a lot of things up at wide receiver. Tyson and Lemon not running, I think, or doing much, like Lemon only doing the one thing. Yeah. And then Tyson not being healthy, I think is going to be a red flag to some people. Tate running the 40, I don't think it's going to affect things as much as most people think. But with all of the round 2 receivers and 3 receivers having really good combines, I think we're going to see, I think that the gap closed. I think we're going to see a lot more teams opt whenever they're debating on any elite pass rusher versus an elite receiver. I think they're going to choose to go with the round 2 receiver and the elite pass rusher or whatever in more cases. So I think that the top end receivers, I think it's bullish for them. I think we're going to see Tate, Tyson, and Lemon go to better teams than we were thinking for the most part. One of them is going to end at the Jets at 16. That's happening. Like it's one of them's going there. The other 2 are going to get a really good landing spot, in my opinion. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it.
So just real quick, I'm not as bullish on the Jets taking a 1st round receiver, just because they have Mitchell for a couple years, they've Mechie for 1 more year. Like to me, 2nd or 3rd round, I think makes sense because, like you said, it's so deep. They could take their guy. He doesn't even have to play this year because they have Mechie and Mitchell, and then next year he enters the fray. So that's my take on it. But
I mean that could easily be right too. Yeah. I mean, they need everything.
So. Exactly. They just have so many needs, and there's so many great defensive players. They could just double up a defensive players.
All right. I'm not worried about Tate's 40. That's not like his 40 is the same as like Devontae Adams, all these other great players, right?
Yeah.
So like George Pickens, he's like an inch or 2 shorter or whatever. Not a big deal, like to me. I'm not worried about it at all. I had him clearly ahead of Tyson and Lemon by the end of the process. I still do. I think that he's clearly the one. I know that you disagree. Do you still have Tyson 1? Or do
So
you
for
have Tate
me,
1?
this is so close. I've gone back and forth. I am still going to lean Tyson 1 until I
Okay.
see the what he runs, because I do think Tyson. I like Tate a lot, but I do think Tyson has just the potential to be. I think he's the highest potential in this draft, and I think he could hit that as a rookie with the right
He
landing
does.
spot.
I will agree. Like, if one of them's going to become Jamar Chase, I think it's Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
If like, but which one is like almost guaranteed to get 1,200 yards a year?
Yeah.
I think that's Tate. Like,
No, we see this the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just massively prefer the guaranteed production in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, I am just Tate too, you know, or
Yeah, and
Tyson too.
I'm Tate. So we just flip.
Yeah. And then I assume you have uh Lemon here.
Yeah, and for me it was while he did, I would have loved to seen him run and do the other drills. It doesn't worry me too much. And honestly, the box that he checked.
Cooler's a great comment. And if
Oh
one of
man,
them is going to become the Hillside Strangler, it's definitely Lemon. Uh,
damn it, coolers. Um,
I I don't care if he was never like Justin Jefferson was never the one on his college team. Are we going to discount him? Like
yeah,
I'm not worried about that at all. Egbuka wasn't like yeah he did have separation issues, but he did dominate at the beginning of the season.
yeah.
I'm not worried about that. If you want to be worried about it, fine. I'm not going to dismiss somebody else's opinion of that. Like it's not a
Well,
wrong take. It's
well,
just I don't worry about it.
I think to Terrence's point is that's why he's probably not going to be the number one. Like he's probably not going to develop into a Jamar. Like he doesn't have that upside as much as a Tyson.
Right?
Um, but
Yeah.
but I think Tate has just such a very high floor. Like like he can be in the T Higgins range.
Yeah.
Like in terms of type of receiver.
Yeah. For sure.
So what I would say about Lemon, the one positive thing that comes from the combine is he didn't come out.
Yeah.
Definitely not his interviews.
Yeah.
But is he did not come out shorter. I was really worried he was going to be like 5'10", 185. Like he checked that box of, yeah, I think he was like 5'11", right around on the dot, and
Oh yeah. He didn't
195.
do any of these testing, so I can't check it.
If you go to participants, it will still have
Okay. Okay. Okay.
their
Got it. Yeah.
So yeah, 5'11", to
Yeah.
192.
Just hand size worries me. I will
His
say
hand size
that.
is on the small side
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, but like his gauntlet was really really good. It looked literally exactly like Puka's.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where he needs to win. I do think, and unless he has a better 40 and better jumps are also very important here as well.
Right.
I do think he is going to be kind of a slot only guy. Now, if you go with Sean McVay and your Puka or Cooper Kupp before you can be the best receiver in the league. Amon-Ra St. Brown, fits in the right, but you have to build your offense around that. Will every team do that is the question mark.
Wasn't Jefferson on the same team with Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what? Like okay, whichever. Like if you think Jefferson was the one, we can say the same thing with Jamar Chase. Like one of them. The NFL thought it the other way because Jefferson went pick 22.
Yeah, 21,
So,
22, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm closer to like I can see a team. I'm not 100% certain. I like Lemon's tape. I really like the way he plays. He never pulls away after he catches the ball. Like he always gets extra yards, but he never really pulls away. I do think he's a really good pick, but I think he's like easily the highest bust potential of these three.
Well, I think for two reasons. One, the problem,
assuming Tyson's healthy.
Yeah, the problem with yes, the Amon-Ra comp is so perfect, but it's also there. Amon-Ra went in the 4th round, so it was nothing but upside for him, right? And obviously he blew that off the doors. Where Mekhi Lemon, not like outright bust, but he might just be this like above average slot receiver in this league. And that is a 3rd, 4th round pick. That is not, we can get that later with the Antonio Williams, etc.
Yeah.
And so that's the concern.
He's the one that I worry the most for all the other guys looking really awesome for round 2. Because I don't think you can get the Tate or the Tyson profile as easily later.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lemon, you're looking at like Skylar Bell had an awesome combine. He kind of could do the same thing and more. And Lemon can easily line up outside as well. Like, I'm not saying he only does the inside stuff, but he is best at that. Concepcion is that guy. We have Zachariah Branch. We have Deion Burks as well, who I hadn't got to when I did my original rankings. I finally watched him. So I do have him ranked now. But yeah, I think that's why he's clearly the 3. It's not a talent thing. I think the NFL is going to look at it that way. And I think that he probably ends up in a pretty good landing spot, honestly, I think.
Yeah. I think what it is, excuse me, to this point.
I just got jumped for saying Jefferson was a wide receiver 2 on his team in college.
It's like the year before, he led the team, but
I'm just giving him a hard time.
The lemon thing is he's good. It's just that profile is tough, and Amon-Ra, it's like saying, just because a quarterback is 6 foot or under, they are Drew Brees. Well, no. And like Russell Wilson, I know what we think of Russell Wilson now, but he had a great career, but he was also a 3rd rounder. So it's like when you're taking Bryce Young 1st overall, you're just taking a big risk because so many of that profile, shorter quarterback bust or just, average. And not that Lemon, I think, is an outright bust, but I think, like I said, if he's just a good, solid slot receiver, even if he is Wan'Dale Robinson, like Wan'Dale Robinson will make money this offseason, but he's not in the same category as Alec Pierce or Mike Evans or George Pickens, etc.
Right. I don't honestly remember the stats. Like, the point is that one of those 2 was a number 2 with the Tate argument. Like, that's it. Like, it doesn't matter which one it was. Like, in my eyes, it's that if you have 2 elite receivers on a team, and I mean, the Brian Thomas one feels a little weird now, right? Like, but
I think it's more for Tate. I'm with you overall on Tate, but Tate has gone from
he does have the wide receiver 1 ego.
He last year, Tate was the wide receiver 3. Like, he not just beat up by generational talent Jeremiah Smith, but he was beat up by Mbuka,
and he was.
So that is the concern with Tate, is like he's not.
I get it.
I don't necessarily think this is a knock. It's just partly like when he could come out and everything.
What the other thing about that, if you're at LSU or Ohio State or Georgia, or maybe not Georgia, but Alabama, you're beating out other 4 and 5 star recruits to even get on the field.
Yeah.
So there's a guy who gets less production or is a number 2 on one of these teams. Like, I kind of view them a little above a number 1 on some teams sometimes. It's all like in your eyes, what you want to see, you'll see.
Yeah, I think we're all talking about the same way. Going back to Terrence's thing is Tate has his ceiling is capped a bit more than these other guys that we're talking about, and that's what it just boils down to. Good old Mike.
Yeah, yep. That's read between the lines, Mike. Way to do it. Way to do it. All right, who you got it for?
I'm staying the same. I'm Denzel Boston.
All right. I did the thing. I'm sure you're not surprised. I even a month ago, like when we did this, I was telling you I was debating on doing this,
Yeah.
right?
No, I know.
And that was before like we seen all these other people come out with their rankings way up there with like, and Jeremiah, by the way, doesn't have Boston one. Uh, I did it the wrong way. Or he had Boston above Cooper still, but he had him at 19 overall, right?
Yeah.
I think that the combine wasn't like super good. Like it was great for Cooper because he ran a time nobody really expected. Like I thought he would be in the 4.4s, like 4.46 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that long speed, like, was something I wasn't positive we would see. And
Agreed.
I do think that he should like on the tape, he looks very, very good. And Boston does have the size profile. He has the X receiver stuff. Omar Cooper like also looks fine outside. He's definitely better in the slot, but he looks fine outside when he has to go out there. And Boston, I don't have any problem with Boston. Like
Yeah.
I think he's a great pick, and I have him here. And I just love Omar Cooper, and I think that I've been saying he's a lock for the first round. I'm kind of changing that to I think he's a lock for the top 40. I think that the more I think about it, a lot of these teams may pass on early receiver and then try to get one in round two. But I think it's 50-50. He goes in round one. And I think it's more like 75% the Boston goes in round one. But for me, I like Cooper slightly more.
Well, and you said this a little bit with Lemon, and this is the issue I think Lemon has. As you said, Tyson and Tate are a little different. I mean, Boston is outside like they are, but they just have a little different profile. Cooper, I think a lot of teams are going to start having this debate: Lemon versus Cooper versus with a later pick for Cooper, Concepcion or Bernard. And I think it's a very fair debate. Because honestly, all three of those guys, I think, can do more outside than Lemon. So it's like Lemon has to be the 99th percentile slot dominating receiver, the Amon-Ra type, to pay it off.
This is what I think is going to happen in those situations. If you're thinking about Lemon and you don't have him clearly above, you're looking to trade back just a few picks, and if Lemon goes, he goes, and then you're comfortable with the other player.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we may see the teams we're looking at taking a wide receiver. Like I don't know if there are going to be a lot of people wanting to trade up this year in general, but like I think that the teams looking at wide receiver are going to be much more willing to trade down.
Yeah. So for me, fifth, I still have Concepcion.
Okay.
He did not run that, but I expect it to be good. That will change if he comes in with a 4.5 or 4, something like that. Then that will change. But Concepcion did, I think, have a good combine in a number of ways. One, he came in at 6 foot, like 205, so it's a good height weight for him. Two, he looked very, very good in the drills. He did. Catching everything, route running. We talked about him before. His profile was weird because his first 2 years at NC State, he was Mr. Gadget guy, like, not as bad as Branch, but Mr. Gadget guy. Nobody's as bad as Branch in that department. But then he goes to Texas A&M, and quarterback play improves, but it's still not like top of the charts or anything. And he gets more downfield shots. He gets more of the full route tree. Not completely, but you see enough of it. The drops were the concern. But I like that he was honest about it. He was open about it. And he said, I need to work on this, be better. And
whenever he ran the drills, he put his hands fully out. He never caught anything near the body.
Not bobbling, anything. Like it was very, very impressive. And look, I mean, he's still going to, teams are still going to question on that. They're going to want to see it as pro day. They're going to want to see it on their individual workouts. But as long as his testing times end up being pretty good, which I expect them to be, I think he is right here in that late first round discussion. And I think definitely unlike Lemon, but I think he actually has the most outside ability of these receivers. Like, he can play outside at 6 foot, 205, because he's got a vertical game that I don't really see from. Definitely not from Lemon. Definitely not from Bernard. Cooper Jr. hit or miss.
I think Cooper and Concepcion are the best two of this style to play outside as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure which one is best. I think it's going to be Cooper. That's why I have him rated higher. The reason, and Concepcion's ranking for me is more about the rumors of the off the field stuff with the. I did you watch the Steve Smith podcast thing? Did he basically said that the rumor he heard from the Texas Tech staff was that as soon as practice is over, he's gone. Like, he doesn't stick around ever. He's also known to party a lot of those things. So things that it could become a problem it could become a problem. Maybe he ends up, a little dehydrated in drill, in practices, stuff like that. Right now, the only reason I would ever drop somebody because of that is because I have the players very, very close in ranking.
Yeah.
So I basically have these three ranked the same. And the next, we'll get to yours, but my seventh, I'm not going to say it yet, but my seventh, I do have below these, but I think that my seventh is also a guaranteed second round pick as well. And I think after that, an early second now, but who do you have at 6?
Cooper Jr.
Okay. I kind of figured the top 6 we would have basically the same. Who do you have at 7? Because we've already
moved up Bernard.
I think that there's a clear top 7, and I believe that is correct. I think there's a big drop off after this. Not that these other players don't have the potential to go ahead of them, or that they won't be better, but I think the NFL is going to look at it as these are. I just feel really, really I don't think there's a way that all 32 teams let any of these guys get past pick 50. It's kind of where I'm at.
No, I agree. I pretty much agree with that. I think so much of it will depend on the landing spot. I do think my next guy 8 is Surratt. I just think he's still more NFL ready than a lot of these guys out here. So while I think other guys could get drafted ahead of him, I think he's just very NFL ready. We'll see what his eventual testing is. He did run the drills, didn't look, I'd say, the greatest in them. It wasn't bad, but he unfortunately got, you get so few options. There were a couple where he just got such bad balls.
Yeah.
He did. The back shoulder ball was not even close to him.
Well, the other back shoulder ball was not great, and he made an awesome catch on it too.
Yeah.
So for me, I've already said, and I think you kind of so for me, I have a big tier from 8, and I think it's to 16. Here, I don't know if you have a big tier break after 8, after 7, or
kind of after 8 for me.
After 8, yeah. I had a lot of red flags in my profile for Surratt with the separation stuff. The question about separation based on his contested catch percentage, what percentage of his catches were contested, raises a flag for separation for me. But he's still really good at if he doesn't land with a timing quarterback, I think it's going to be not great.
Yeah,
it's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, so we'll get to my 8 and 9 then. The Bells, both of them. I was pretty high on Skyler anyway. Like Skyler Bell came in with 10-inch hands for a wide receiver. That is crazy. He had a 4.40 40. Like I didn't think he's going to be that fast. To be fair, I think he's definitely at least an early third. I think at this point, the guy absolutely got targets. Him and Bryce Lance. Like I have Bryce Lance somewhere. We'll get to him, but like both of them had mega deals to Power Four school or Power Four conferences, and they chose to stay at their current school.
Yeah.
And because of that, like you do wonder if they only look good because of the competition. Whenever those players also have really solid combines and profile, like just good profiles as an NFL prospect, you can limit that a little bit. Like you can definitely like the red flag is way less of a red flag at that point. So like that was why I had Bell at 12 behind Brazel and Fields and Chris Bell. And like Chris Bell, like he still has a torn ACL. Like
that's the issue.
And but I do think that if he was fully healthy, I think he'd be a lock into the first round. So I don't know how to rate that, but that's where I'm at. And like I said, 8 to all the way down here, basically the same to me. It's just kind of what I prefer and what I like more.
No,
Chris Bell may be too low. Like if this was for Dynasty, Chris Bell would be up there around Concepcion. To be honest with you, like I really like Chris Bell. These are basically for underdog rankings, and like I'm taking a lot of Chris Bell and underdog on when I get nine wide receiver teams. I love throwing Chris Bell on the end of it.
Yeah,
like it's the most comfortable thing is to throw Chris Bell on a team whenever you feel like you have an extra pick in round 20. Just throw Chris Bell on it because if you get that team to the finals, you basically picked up an extra like 14th round pick easily, if not ahead of that.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Bell is my number 9 also.
Okay.
And for those reasons is he would have been in the first round mix if not for the injury. I think he still could go second, at worst third round, I think. And it's going to be a team who, hopefully gives them a shot. There's a lot of upside there. And, a year from now, we could be, if he closes the year strong, we could be talking about Chris Bell as like, in the top 120, 130 of drafts.
I mean, next year, there's a chance we could be talking about Chris Bell in the 6th, 7th round where Ricky Pearsall goes.
Yeah. I mean,
for next year.
Yeah. That's the Ricky P outcome. Sure. But,
yeah,
I don't think he'll have first round capital. I mean, that was part of it always with Ricky P. But
right. But like we've done it with other players. Yeah, we've done it with other players. It not necessarily worked out, but we've done it. Who you got at 10?
So I really debated. I've Ted Hurst.
Wow.
Moved him up. I
actually moved him down. But like like I said, it's such like he's still in the group. Right.
For me, he's continued to check boxes. One at the Senior Bowl, now at the Combine. Smaller school. I worry about his production as a rookie, but he's 6'3", vertical, can play outside. There's only a handful of guys in this draft who can really do that, that we feel good about. I do think he's more of a long-term project, but I think he sneaks into the 3rd round of the draft, maybe even the 2nd round. But I don't know. I just have gotten more and more impressed as I watched him. Now, competition, similar to Lance, who we'll talk about shortly, is questionable, but he had 2 extremely good years these past 2 years. So,
so S. here saying he wants Chris Bell to like if your team needs a receiver, Chris Bell is the receiver you want them to draft because he's an absolute value for the future. Like I seen a mock just a little bit ago, Walter Football. They had they had Chris Bell falling to the 3rd round and going to Kansas City, and I'm like, this would be the best thing I could imagine. Like they had Jadarian Price, then Chris Bell. Like absolutely, just sign me up. Like I would
Yeah.
be super happy about that. But yeah, I like Ted Hurst. I just think that everybody else that I put up here checked boxes like better, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And their overall is like, I think I don't remember where I have them. It's like 14 or 15, I think. I can't remember.
Okay.
But like, I think that he's more like almost a third, like guaranteed to be a 3rd round pick, not a 2. I think all the other players, like I moved Zachariah Branch above him because Branch is gonna get 2nd round capital. I feel like for sure. So like I just kind of like capital does matter. I don't even remember what these rankings are. I think I know what this is, but we'll take yours and then I'll just unveil slowly and we'll see what happens.
All right, my next one is Chris Brazell.
Chris Brazell, got it. And then I think it's Bryce Lance. I thought it was Bryce Lance, which I had Bryce Lance. I was one of the only ones that liked Bryce Lance before. Maybe I'm doubling down too hard, but like I think he checked every box. I didn't know whenever I made this ranking that he turned down a 7-figure deal to go play for multiple schools in the Power Four. Like multiple schools offered him over $1 million to go play, and he turned it down because he wanted the NDSU legacy with the family. He also just won a title the year before with them, and he like they were the ones that gave him the chance, so he wanted to stay there for them.
Yeah,
I don't think I could ever give up $1 million, but
yeah,
like,
that's
like
impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah. So I'd heard that after, and I'm like, well, and then he just destroyed the combine. So like I feel pretty confident moving him up. Like, and that's where I'm at with Bryce Lance. Brazell though, like he's like the same player as Bryce Lance. Like they're basically the same player. It's Brazell played against tougher competition. If you go back 2 years to Tulane, like he actually ran different routes and more styles of routes than Bryce Lance has. Bryce Lance is just more athletic, and I think better at the. I think he's going to be better at the deep ball contested catch kind of stuff than Brazell slightly, and I think Brazell is going to be better all around.
Yeah, my thing is that, and if I was doing this from a dynasty standpoint, I would definitely have Lance above Brazell. And spoiler, I mean they're very close here. And but for me, Brazell, he's not like your typical Tennessee receiver. Not entirely Cedric Tillman, who unfortunately has dealt with injuries, but Cedric Tillman was a more NFL ready receiver. But Brazell has him is next. Like he's better than Jalen Hyatt, better than Dante Thornton. So I think the fact that he checked the speed box, that is his calling card. If he did not check that box, that was going to be big, which we'll talk about that guy there shortly in a little bit, who did not check that speed box. But I do think Brazell could get on the field a little bit as a rookie, just more like a vertical threat. I think he's going to be a team's 3rd wide receiver. In my opinion, I think he could sneak into the 2nd round, if not early 3rd. And I kind of, and partly I have Hurst and Brazell here is because their ability to play outside to me has more underdog fantasy value. If we're talking drafters or DraftKings or it's full point PPR, some of these other guys coming up might be a little bit more ahead.
Yeah, I did mine just based because I'm doing a lot of both. And like I will say, Skylar Bell, much better pick on DraftKings and drafters on full PPR than on Underdog.
Yeah, and just Skylar Bell is my number 12, so it's I'm not that much further behind. I think he can actually play a little outside, unlike a couple guys we're about to talk about. But he, is everything you said, like. And the thing with Bell versus like Lance is he did, he started his career at Wisconsin, had like 400 yards his sophomore year. Then he went to UConn and really dominated these past 2 years. And there, like, yeah, it wasn't like top end schools, but he had some big games against Syracuse, UNC, Duke, a couple other, like mid-tier school, like mid-tier Power Four schools. So it's not like he is only playing, small schools and dominating them. He dunked on Syracuse a couple times. He dunked on Duke a couple times. So
yeah. So my number 12 is Malachi Fields, and he didn't run fast, but that's fine. I was a little worried about all of it. I thought he looked very stiff in the drills.
Yeah.
But then, did you see his 3-cone?
That was good.
Like he had a sub 7 3-cone.
Yeah.
At 6, what is he? 6'4"? 6'4" and a half. It's weird that the hand is a little short too, but like he's got big arms, big weight, or solid weight, huge guy. And thinking about it, and after seeing the 3-cone thing, the way I was thinking about it is, I think it was more of an optical illusion how stiff he looked in the drills, because he was going like in that same group. We seen like Zachariah Branch and some of these other guys going that were just incredibly twitchy.
Yeah.
And actually, somebody I don't have ranked, Chris Hilton, is a big guy. That guy looked really fluid in all of his, and it kind of made Malachi Fields look slower. And I was really surprised that he ended up with the 3-cone under 7. And like, I was gonna tank him all the way down, but the 3-cone, like, I think it's fine. If like he needs to play a little tougher at the catch point, but that is something that can be coached up. It's also something that can some people just never learn.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a project. I think that he's an X receiver for sure, and X receivers usually go higher than slot receivers because there's more options for them. And fewer teams have one.
So I have Fields at 14, so I'm not too far behind. I had him, higher before, but this definitely wasn't.
I had him way higher before as well.
I think he's X or power slot. I think the problem that I have with him is he is, which can be valuable, particularly in best ball. He's, we talk about a lot of like more with the running backs, but like between the 20s running backs, he's like a red zone receiver. Like, I don't think he's going to do a ton. He's not, because like he's taller than Surratt, but Surratt I think is a much better route runner. So Surratt will just pick up more first downs. He can do more, in my opinion. Like Fields, even if they end up at the same time, like Fields, I just don't think has that as much. Maybe he can develop that because the 3-cone was promising.
Yeah. That was the weird thing for me. I didn't know how to rate that properly. So this right here, how much stock do you put in the gauntlet? I want to say something. Like, they only ran it one way this year. They usually run it from one side and then the other, right? They usually do it twice. Why? Like, you usually get 2 versions of the gauntlet drill. This year they only ran one. I don't know why, or if it feels really dumb. Like, you have this whole thing going. Why would you remove that thing that most people think is one of the best drills out there? Like, the 40, you get to run twice. Most of the drills, like the back shoulder fade and stuff, you run all that twice. Why wouldn't you run the gauntlet twice? Like, especially when you've done it in previous years.
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know.
So like this year, I think the ones that had really good gauntlets, you can rate really, really like, and the ones that had really bad ones, like, I do think it affects them, but I think in past years when they got 2 chances, it matters more, maybe, because you could see it's still like an awesome drill and a very telling drill. Like, and Lemon absolutely killed that drill. Concepcion looked pretty good in that drill.
So I think for certain guys, it matters more. Guys who are going to play in the slot more, it matters a lot more. You've got to show that ability to, just catch quick passes like that, like staying on the line. It sounds crazy. But for an instance, like it was tweeted out, like Lemon versus his teammate, Jacoby Lane in the gauntlet drill. I actually didn't think Lane's was that bad because Lane is not running, like he caught pretty much everything. And he weaved a little bit, but some guys weave horribly.
Fields weaves quite a bit.
Yeah. Those are the guys you really need to be worried about.
The people who weave a lot of them are the 6'4" plus guys. And it's
because they're not used to the short area stuff.
Yeah. They don't run in a straight, like they run in a straight line and then put their hand up and jump. That's all. That's what they do.
So I like if and I would not have expected Lemon, but like Omar Cooper Jr. didn't run the gauntlet, but if like Jeremy Bernard had a bad gauntlet or Skylar Bell had a bad gauntlet, like Skylar Bell is a bad gauntlet, Antonio Williams, that's bad for them. Yeah. Like Zachariah Branch had a good gauntlet. That's good for him, but that is his 50% of his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of him, I moved him up. It's hard to, like, he's incredibly physically gifted, right?
Yeah.
And as I said, a lot, like when we started the wide receivers from 8 to 16, like all of them, I believe, are going in round 2 and 3. I honestly don't have a gigantic lean in any direct. These are just slight leans on these players. I know a lot of people have Zachariah Branch, even up into the top 5 and 6. I've seen it a lot of places. And as you said earlier, Branch to me feels like a year 2 player more than a year 1 player. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. But I kind of think that like he's a way better dynasty buy than a like underdog best ball style buy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's better in dynasty. How do you know year 2? I think he's a project. I really do. I think, we talked about how Lemon coming in at a good size was positive for him. He came in, if I'm mistaken, he was listed in college as like 5'10", 5'9". He came in 5'8", and small. So yes, there's again, we talk about the exceptions out there, like Wandale. Wandale, though, his college profile only had about 25% of his game was screen game. Branch was 51%. That's a massive, massive amount.
Right.
And, yes, he got positive yards on it. He's very good at that, but it is a knock. And so he is very much with that size profile. Like we talk about, Lemon can play maybe a little outside. Guys like, Bernard and Cooper and, like Skylar Bell can play more outside. Like Deion Branch is going to be 95% inside. Like he just has to.
And he didn't run a 3-cone. Like
that's a weird one.
Like he probably seen what Emmett Johnson did is like, ooh, let's not do that.
So for the positives, they round him up to 5'9". I'm pretty sure he was like 5'8" and 3/4 or something like that. And 177 again, the Worthy is like the 170 type, and but he can get vertical. I just don't trust, like, Branch's speed never translated to a vertical game in college. It's tough to imagine that it will in the pros.
I will say 20 bench reps.
That's surprising, though.
Do you see Deion Burks?
He's got very short arms, so a lot of times that can be very beneficial.
Yeah. Did you see Deion Burks though?
No.
He had 26.
Wow.
At 180.
What I do think Branch was impressive with was his hand catching ability, because like PPR Tyler talked about, and we've talked about it before, like he body catched so many things, and like easy, like slant routes. Like we're not talking body catch a 50-yard pass down the field. Like easily a 7-yard slant route, he's body catching.
I actually watched some more Branch today. And what I watched today, I actually seen him I did see him get downfield a little bit more in what I watched today. And like he actually was adjusting to the ball in the air pretty well downfield. So like I'm not going to say he's going to be Tyreek Hill, but that's like the one thing Tyreek Hill was always awesome at. And if he can learn to do that consistently, he will be a problem with his speed. And like the smaller guys like that, if they're stout like he is, like if he has 20 bench press reps and he's only 5'8", 180, like that probably means like a chuck on him isn't going to be nearly as effective. I don't know, but like he's probably built a little sturdier than Worthy is, right? Like Worthy had, I don't know. I don't even know if he did bench.
I don't know if he should
Like,
have done bench, but yeah.
but like to me, that means that he would be able to work through a lot more of that stuff. And if he can, because like that's Tyreek's build, right? Like he can kind of work through that kind of stuff a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
just,
like it, I'm not comparing him to that player, like saying he will be that player. But like if he can, like his upside is really strong. It is just kind of what, like kind of where I came to and why I moved him up specifically. Now I don't know if he'll be able to get there. And like I like him. I think I like him more than Malachi Fields as a player this year. Like, but Malachi Fields is absolutely going to be on the field more because he's an X.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my question with Branch is just the size, the arm
it is
length,
scary.
all that. It's a very thin needle you're threading. And like I know Wandale has developed, but look, Wandale's first couple of years, all we thought was he was this like screen merchant,
Right.
and this past year he did develop, and so maybe 3 years from now that will be Branch. I think Branch will be a slot receiver for some team this year. I think he'll be an excellent return man for some team this year. I just don't see a ton of fantasy points coming my way and right now he's going to like pick 190, 200. And it's like, I can find better options there, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I
agree. Like he should be in the mix of round 20 draft picks, not drafted 100% of the time. And like, I feel like it's like for underdog specifically, like I just feel like it's a leverage point. Like if I could take Bryce Lance, who wasn't drafted at all in the first 40%, like why wouldn't I take that over Branch more percentage of the time when Branch has been drafted like 90-ish% of all the contests so far?
Well, it's also he's just going against a lot of these like second year or third year guys who we at least have more data on, we have more consideration on, we kind of know where they're at. The Teslas, the Trey Tuckers, the like Horton, guys like that. And it's like, I'm just mainly going to go for those guys where in 20th round clicks, I'm much more likely to mix in, as you mentioned, like the Bryce Lance, the Ted Hurst, etc. These guys aren't always drafted, and it's much better lotto ticket click at that point. I know it seems like a 2-round difference shouldn't matter that much, but to me, I think it does from a security standpoint. And it does depend on the build. Like if your first 7 receivers are like locked in, fine. Yeah, take Zach Branch as your fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. Who you got for me?
For me, mine is kind of similar. It's actually a similar build guy, but I think kind of better, and that's Deion Burks.
Nice. I'm just gonna unveil all of mine. I have him somewhere down here. I don't remember where. Okay, I put him there. Yeah, so basically down to Burks, I think, it was 16. So from 16 to 8, I think you can just argue however you want.
Yeah.
So he's basically the exact same, like as Branch. It's just which I seen more in Branch's game than I did Burks myself. But
so Burks's tape can be a bit more frustrating. I like that it's not all screen merchant. He is a little bigger, and that small difference in size. You say 5'8" and 3/4 versus I think Burks is 5'10" if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he was. Let me go back and look. 5'10", 180.
Yeah. So,
the same hands,
like
26 bench, which is crazy.
And also he was faster and jumped better and everything, So I think he's a better athlete. And just at 5.
So I agree he is the better athlete for sure. But just like with Branch, I seen the athleticism on film way more than I did with Burks.
Sure. I know. I agree with that.
So just because Burks has an amazing skill set, but I didn't see it explosive on tape whenever I watched him.
Yeah. And so which I agree. I think what I will say is, and this is the difference what we just talked about, is Burks was essentially 0% drafted up until this point, where Branch has been in every draft. And
right.
I also think that, just between Burks's profile, the production profile was a little worse, but it's not like Branch was off the charts, right? Like he just had average years, and so did Burks. Burks, his last year Purdue, I just looked it up, 47 catches, 629 yards, 7 touchdowns. His second year at Oklahoma, his first year at Oklahoma, unfortunately got injured.
Burks didn't even make it to my original. I had 36 people ranked to watch, and he didn't even make it onto that. He kind of came in. Oh no, he's up here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he got injured that one year, and you had the stats right there. And then the second year, it was very similar to his last year at Purdue. So to me, there's. I will say I think Branch ends up being drafted higher in the NFL, but I think Burks is a third rounder, and I think Burks could get more of a fun landing spot.
That's actually why I have Branch. So Burks isn't really linked to special teams from what I've seen, and Branch is. And I think that alone is going to give Branch more capital, and it's not guaranteed, right? Like if a team likes somebody, they just take them. But that's why I have Branch higher, is because of the capital. I think Branch is almost locked into at minimum early round 2, and I think Burks could be late round 3.
Yeah,
is all.
Yeah, kind of agree with that. But it's close. I've Branch 16, so we're not talking a crazy.
And as we were both saying, we kind of think that these groups after, for you it's 9 to whatever, pretty similar. For me it's 8, and I actually have Hurst outside of that group, by the way.
Yeah,
I moved him down a lot. I'll tell you why later.
My 15 is the same as yours, Antonio Williams. He's as safe as it gets. I think a third round pick, but he's a slot only guy. But he's actually, to me, safer than Branch or Burks, the two guys we just talked about.
Yeah, and I didn't see the speed on tape when I watched him.
Yeah,
and he ran a 4.42. I believe it's a 4.42. I was expecting him to be like a 4.5 flat, which that's not bad. I'm not saying you're bad if you're 4.5 flat, but a slot guy at a 4.5 feels a little different than an outside guy. But I do think of all of those players, Antonio Williams for sure. I think he could be taught to play outside. That. I think that Branch and Burks especially, if he doesn't work in the slot, I feel like it's not going to work out. I think there's a small chance Branch could be taught to play outside. I don't think it's going to work, but I think that there is a chance there. And Antonio Williams, I think that of those 3 would have the best chance to actually play outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably unlikely for all 3, but I get what you're saying. And for me, it's just Williams has the highest floor of this group. But because of that, also might have the least amount of capital,
right?
Draft capital. But he tested better than I expected. His jumps were better than I expected, and his
split was good. His
his
broad
40
was fine.
was very good.
He cleared the 7. You want to be 7 or less,
right on the dot. Yeah,
he's right there. That's fine. He's quite a bit bigger. Or I guess he's only 10 pounds bigger. So like
he's a little taller, but that does matter.
2.5, 3 inches taller, which is a big deal when you're talking about 5'8" to 5'11".
So
it's a big deal because I'm 5'11". That's why. 5'5", 10.5", 5'11". If being 5'10", like nothing wrong being 5'10", 5'8", get out of here. Get out.
So no, I think he is a very good slot receiver and could have some real fantasy value in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's somebody I'm taking 20th round, like nothing higher.
Absolutely. And I also prefer him in full PPR way more.
Yeah. So and my 17 is Bryce Lance.
Okay. So you had him at like 30. So and that's a big move.
And for me, I think he goes higher in the draft than maybe even Fields. I think he goes higher in the draft than Skylar Bell, probably higher in the draft than Ted Hurst. But I think he's just more of a project. I think he's probably a late second rounder in the draft. He checked every athletic box I wanted to see.
So
I just get the feeling he needs a year.
I'm going to lump Ted Hurst and Brazil into the same conversation. I think that Bryce Lance's combine significantly hurts Hurst and Brazil and other combines. Because I know we can't draft him on underdog, but and I don't think that we should, even if we could. That's Jeff Caldwell, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these tall wide receivers that are outside guys actually had really, really awesome physical profiles. And I think that overall hurts Brazil and Hurst more. And like Bryce Lance, I just get this feeling that the NFL is going to like him way more than they do like the Jacoby Lane, because Jacoby Lane had an awesome combine as well. For what
he did, and he's my next guy for that reason.
And I just think that most years these X's you have a much harder time to find. Malachi Fields plays the game a lot different than all those other guys, but Ted Hurst, Jacoby Lanes, Bryce Lance, and Brazil, Brazil has shown in the past that he's more than just a deep guy. All these other guys kind of need to prove it a little more. But I think that there being multiple guys, the fastest of the group will kind of rise to the top. And everybody else, it hurts a little bit more because it's unlike any class we've seen with this many people with that kind of ability that not only showed the football skills, but also showed that they have the physical traits on top of it.
Yeah, I mean the fact that these guys are not unicorns, there's, like you said, even deeper guys like Caldwell, Hilton, etc.
Yeah, Hilton had an awesome combine.
So that I do think hurts a little bit. I mean, some of these guys
and maybe I have Bryce Lance too high because of that. I mean, maybe that argue but
I still think.
Don't know.
I think these guys are going to get into that second, third round combo, and it kind of just comes down to what do you see?
Right.
Lance and Hurst have a bit more who they competition situation. Brazil, the whole Tennessee thing, which I agree with you. He, at Tulane, I always want to say Toledo. At Tulane, he showed a bit more. So, but that was against weaker competition. So there's always going to be some. I mean, Jacoby Lane's another one. He wasn't this elite athlete, but he was good enough for another big outside receiver.
Jacoby Lane, I don't even think I originally thought Jacoby Lane in the 18th, 19th round was an awful pick, but I think it's a fine pick now.
Yeah.
I even think what do you think of Brendan Thompson? Do you have him ranked?
No. So, well, I mean, at kind of at the bottom, I think he's a day 3 guy. I think some team's going to view him as and Cody and I talked about this. He never did special teams. He needs to.
So just like Bryce, like he's better at. He definitely has holes in his game, but like he is a completely different prospect style than all these other guys, like Ted Hurst, Jacoby Lane, Brazil, and I think that like Bryce Lance is kind of in between the two, kind of like, and that's kind of why I feel more confident about him is because like he's sort of like Thompson with the speed, but like he also has all the other things that these other guys have, right? So like I think that like that's why I feel confident putting him ahead. Doesn't mean I'm right, but like Thompson is the only small guy with the downfield threat, and he's really small.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Really small.
Yeah, like I mean, we'll go to the 40 at the top. It's 5'7", right? Oh no, he's 5'9".
Yeah, but he weighed like 164. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I threw him on here. I don't think I'm gonna take him at all. I think I'm more likely to take these other guys. But this is like, I do think that the NFL may throw at minimum a 4th round pick at him. I think he goes by round 4.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it won't shock me, particularly certain teams, like a team, and they've done it before. They took a 2nd rounder on him. The Rams, I think it was 2nd or 3rd round, Tutu Atwell. Like they and this Sean McVay loves this kind of guy, and it's actually exactly what they need this year.
It really is.
They need just a vertical deep threat, and whether that's going to be one of these big guys or a guy like Brendan Thompson, I think they're going to use like a 3rd, 4th rounder on that. It's not somebody they want to give 100 targets to. It's somebody they want to give 50 targets to, and just be out there to take coverage away from Puka and Adams.
At pick 29, I think Omar Cooper and Concepcion are very live and perfect fits. And I think it's not great for fantasy for either one of them, but it is a perfect fit for the team.
Yeah, I would like to. I think my guess is it's more a 2nd rounder, just because I know Adams.
I can see that
end of his career, but the problem is like neither one of those guys fill the future Adams role.
Right.
So but I see like a 2nd or 3rd round, and it could be one of these guys we're mentioning, like
a Zachariah Branch if he got there in the 2nd round.
I would question that just because I don't think he did it enough in college. I actually think they could go one of these taller guys, or like a Skylar Bell, 4.4 flat.
Right. I would love Skylar Bell with McVay.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Who you got? Do you have extras or not? Like,
so Eric McAllister, I like him a lot. I'm still like holding a flame for him.
Man, I like all of these guys. Is the thing. Like just because they're ranked at 18 doesn't mean I don't like them. Like I fully think that almost everyone on this list, other than CJ Daniels and maybe Brendan Thompson, like I like him more than I think the NFL will. I think at least 18 people go in round 1 to 2 or by pick 100.
I think in the first 3 rounds we have 17 to 20 names.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. And I feel pretty confident that like these names we have are going to be most of those names. Maybe a guy or two that we don't have, but most of the ones we have here. And I think like CJ Daniels is the only one I watched that like he just never impressed. Every time I watch people, like he just continually moves to the bottom. Like I only have him ranked because I watched him, and he just stays at the bottom. I have not seen anybody I like less. So
yeah, no, but there's so many guys. And you talked about Hilton, but you're that just mass of LSU athletes out there.
Yes.
And I mean, they're all super athletic. You have Kevin Coleman. You have a couple other names that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but it's a very deep wide receiver room or wide receiver class. I do think up to 20, which would be 1/5 of the picks. That's very high. So that's why I say like 17 to 20 in the first 3 rounds is probably what we're looking at.
All right. You want to give a 20th just to round it out, or do you have one?
My 20th would be Kevin Coleman.
Kevin Coleman. I don't have. I haven't actually watched him, so I'll have to go watch him.
But it's like at that point on, it's like I want to watch the LSU guys a bit more. You know, what's his name from who ran the 4-3?
Let's go look real quick.
4-3-3. Jeff Caldwell.
So
like I want
Jeff
to watch
Caldwell is like the most inconsistent catcher from like I've heard multiple people talk about it, like Brugler and PFF, all of them. They're like, yeah, he's awesome physically, but you go watch the tape and there is everything left on the field. Like basically. So like he's a guy that a team that wants to mold a receiver over 2 to 3 years, if you're willing to take that time, it's fine. But like he's really bad. Like he doesn't use his size well and all that. Like his release package is like very not good. Is what they were saying. So, but I'm gonna jump over. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up? I'm going live in 4 minutes on this channel again. So go ahead and wrap up, and then I will post the link. I will take a quick little break. I will hop on over into the other one. We're going to be doing a drafters draft over there as well for anybody who wants drafters.
Nice.
Dollar store. I am.
Yeah, that's exactly how it ranked. No, it's a very strong class. I think we talked about it, like whether it's top 7, top 8, very strong. And then that next year is we're just going to see a lot of names drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round. So a lot of guys. After the top 8, I don't want heavy exposure to anyone just because I think it. It could be anything. So I'm going to take some more shots on some of the guys I have none on, like the Ted Hurst, like the Bryce Lance, like the Deion Burks. But that's just me.
I'm mixed. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Like I'm mixing in Skylar Bell, Chris Bell, a lot of Chris Bell actually, some Bryce Lance. Antonio Williams isn't drafted that often, so like I like mixing him in a lot. I'm starting to take. Like, I don't know if I'll ever get to Deion Burks. Branch I take when he falls to the 19th or 20th now, because, like, he generally goes. I don't love him. I've already got a little bit of Fields, but he goes in most drafts now. So, like, I've been kind of leaning towards those other players. And Jacoby Lane's a player that he also goes in most drafts, and I don't take him until the 20th. But, like, I don't think that it's wrong to take him. Like he looked fine. Like
agreed.
So I don't think that just because they're like I'm just choosing to gamble against less people. That doesn't mean that like let's say that there's a 60% chance that one of those other players is right over one of the other guys. Like if it's Branch, Jacoby Lane, or Fields, right? We'll just say Fields. And they're drafted at 90%, but they have a 65% chance to be the guy. I would rather go against 15% of the field on a guy who has 35% of the other group, right? Like I would rather just make that bet more often. Is all. Like it's not that I disagree with that Branch is a bad player or that Jacoby Lane's a bad option. It's that I'm just trying to make the smarter bet overall. And I view most of these players pretty close. So
yeah, me too.
So, but I want to thank you for coming on. We will be back next week. I'm not sure what the topic will be. It will be the day before free agency. So it might be something about that. Not sure.
Yeah. That sounds good.
But go ahead and give your spiel. I have all of Steve's information down below in the descriptions. So go over there and give it a follow.
Yeah, you can follow me at Fanspeak Network or at Steve Speak on Twitter. We also have our Discord as well. So if you're joining whose Discord, join ours as well. It's free. And then we have Substack. You can support us at as well. But really appreciate this. Always fun. Looking forward to next week. And I will let you get to your draft.
All right. Thanks for coming by. See you. See everybody later. I will be back. I know it said 4:10, but I'm going to go use the restroom, and then I'll pop in. Peace.
Hey, we're grinding through the torment. High volume, no management. Taming souls indecent. Grinding drafts through the abyss, no rest in our veins. Feel striking like lightning, flooding endless pains from late season voids. He's dropping all the flames. Best ball, Legion unite, shattering the chains. Old school RB stacking fury, derailing trendy trains. Who is commanding the storm etched in our brains? Who? Hey, thunder in the names.